Let it go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my next episode of my podcast, If Comedians Rule the World. And this time around, I am going back to my roots, back to where I was created by my parents. You know, my parents, they were so wonderful. They made love in Nigeria, and then they gave back to me in Liverpool. You know, British passport straight away. Look, I want to start by just thanking everyone who has continued to download my podcast and my episodes. It's been very, very encouraging. The last one was with Kate Copstick, the comedy reviewer. I called it The Rant because she ranted throughout that 1 hour, 48 minutes. I hope you enjoyed the episode. It was fantastic, focusing on comedy, politics, government incompetence, and how should we want to have our own world. With no further ado, I want to introduce you. I said to you that I'm going back to my roots, and I would like to introduce you to my next guest. You may remember that the first musician that I had on my podcast was Ola Onobule. I have someone very similar, but a very different type of music. His name is Babi Dele Olatunbosun Sosimi. And it's a very long African name. And I am the only one who can pronounce it. No one else can pronounce it better than I have done. He's known as Dele Sosimi. He's a Nigerian British musician. He was born in Hackney, believe it or not. His career began when he joined Fela Anikulapo-Kuti, Egypt 80, 1979 to 1986. Then created Positive Force Band with Femi Kuti. So not only did he work with the late Fela Kuti, he has worked with his son, Femi Kuti, with whom he performed from 1986 to 1994. In both bands, he was keyboard player, also musical director, taking care of re-orchestrating and arranging music, as well as handling the recruiting and training of new musicians. Based on Afrobeat, Dele's music is a blend of complex funk grooves, Nigerian traditional music, African percussion, underpinning the jazz horns and solos from other instruments, as well as rhythmical singing. His keyboard can be heard on several of Fela's albums. So whenever you listen to Fela's music and you can hear the keyboard, this is the man behind it, as well as some of Femi's albums as well. Dele has performed often with Tony Allen. Look, let me tell you, his career history is so long. I could be here for the next 2 hours just reading this all out. So Dele, he also has an English name. You know, when I booked him for this, his manager said, Delbert will be ready to podcast and be ready for the interview. I said, Delbert, from Dele to Delbert. You know, there are lots of Nigerians who came into this country. They didn't have English names until they arrived here. And then they started. I don't remember him as Delbert. Well, he says he's Delbert, but that is fine. But on a serious note, I also have been following him. He was one of the rare musicians I followed when I arrived in the UK. And I would be perfectly honest to you that I didn't really appreciate Afrobeat. I didn't appreciate Fela until I came into the UK. And there were so many Nigerian joints when I arrived in the UK that I used to visit. Quite a few of them around Elephant and Castle, North London, and he was instrumental in organizing those nights. So I always like to say for no further ado, Dele, how are you? Welcome. It's wonderful to have you here. I'm not even going to start by saying you don't have posters of me behind your background, but I can see that my posters are competing with your posters as well, because we're both performers and this is an opportunity to promote ourselves. So how are you, Dele?
I am very fine, thank you, dictating president. It's a pleasure to finally be part of this. And I've been looking forward to the chinwag.
Yes.
Because this is a chinwag, isn't it?
No, it is a chinwag. And you know, it's a very small world, because there was someone who asked me to pass a message to you today called George Luke.
Apparently, yeah, George Luke. Yeah, he's a cool brother. Yes, I remember him. And I gave a quick shout out saying hello. I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like I said, it's a small world because I woke up this morning planning my day, and I normally check Twitter, and I checked Twitter, and I just saw this tweet saying, "Oh, I remember President Obonjo's performance because David Olusoga is doing something, or can't remember what it was, but he just mentioned Fela, and I remember that gig that I attended because Fela's photo was on the wall at that time. And I just said, wow, before I start, folks, I have to acknowledge the fact that Baba is here. This is where I come from. And then boom. And I felt, because it was it was outside London in a very predominantly white environment, that photograph of Fela just made me feel very welcome. Just made me feel like, oh, I'm at home. Baba is watching me.
Blesses you, kind of.
Yeah, kind of like, you are my brother. You did where you did. Nothing will happen. You can't die on stage. So let's start with your name. What does your name mean? Apart from the fact that it's very long, what does it mean for my listeners? What does Bamidele mean?
Well, I would digress before I regress. Just like you said earlier, your parents made love in Nigeria, and then you were born in Liverpool.
Yeah.
My parents made love in Nigeria, and then I was born in Hackney. My mom just arrived on the 10th of February.
Wow.
And then I was born on the 22nd of February. Wow. So I just scraped it. So me too, I now had British passport.
Yeah.
So, now in the Yoruba culture, most of the time, they'll give you a name that is relevant to the circumstances.
Yeah.
Born abroad, may you step foot back home. So Bami Dele.
Okay.
Which means you will step back to the motherland with me or with us, your parents. So Bami Dele, then Olatubosun, you never ending fountain of glory, prestige, honor, wealth. You know, Ola can be in a couple of different contexts. So Ola, that's wealth, culture, tradition, integrity, and the good qualities of man. Tubosun, never-ending fountain. And of course, most of us, you always have to have an Olatokunbo because you came across the seas. So that is because BOO, Bamidele Olatubosun, Olatokunbo, the greatness that came across the seas.
Wow.
Then Sosimi, let there be peace.
Wow. That's really
let there be an end to strife. You know, it can, you know, most Yoruba words it would be not pigeonholed. You can take it into different contexts. Let there be an end to strife. Let there be an end to poverty. Let there be an end to dispute. Let there be an end to wars or bad deeds, you know. So, but since it's a family name, I believe there was a time when there was a lot of struggles, strife, fights, quarrels, whatever. And my family were one of the ones instrumental to bringing in the reign of peace. So,
wow, that is really deep. What about the name Delbert? Where's that come from?
Delbert was given to me when I came here because they couldn't say Dele, and because I was working with a lot of Europeans, English people. And they said, Dele? I said, no, it's not Dele. It's Dele, the same note twice. Dele, not Dele, not Dele. Yeah. Dele. If you start high, stay there. Dele, 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 Dele. And on and on. But not Dele or Dele. So then he said, okay, you know what? Just say Del. Oh, yeah, that is it. Hey, Del. Then after a while, they started roasting me. Hey, Delbert! the bird down there. So it's not a real name. It's just friends and, you know, work colleagues, comrades. They want to take a PISS. They'll be like, hey, Delbert! Yeah, man. So that's the Delbert.
Yeah. Do you think, because just more on the name, because it's obvious that certainly in terms of me, my real name is Benjamin Bankole Bello. And Bankole means build a house. And my parents actually were building a house. They were building a house when they had me. So, you know, I thought about it that my parents were in an empty house making love while they were before they created me, you know. But on a serious note, when I came to England as well, I realized that they couldn't pronounce my name properly. And even though I had this English name, Bankule, I was reluctant to use the name Benjamin as a name, but I had to. But I decided that, okay, fine. Actually, it sounds really posh because it's a double barrel name. My real name is Benjamin Bankole Bello, just like Jacob Rees-Mogg, BBB, the three Bs. So I said, yes. Low now, I can use it. Why can't I use it? So I decided at one point, Bankole, just because they weren't pronouncing it properly, I dropped the name Bankole. Then after a while, I just thought, no, I'm not. And I included it as a middle name. The day I included it as a middle name, hey, what happened? Why are you calling yourself that name now? Blah, 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 blah. Like, you know.
Then you tell them the meaning, because you know your name is also one of those names that you can actually expand the context.
Yes.
Because because there are many kinds of houses.
Yes.
Bankoliola, Bankoliola, Bankoli Iji, Bankoli yeah. You know, so there are lots of things. So it could be a concept of build a house of wealth, build a house of knowledge,
yes,
build a house of wisdom. So you have a lot of responsibility. So you're actually living up to your name, because as now since you're now a presidential dictator, and you've been building and you're still building.
Yes,
so
definitely.
In Yoruba, oruko ti mu e lara.
Yes. Do you think, because obviously, like I said, our parents, they spent a lot of time thinking, you just couldn't pluck a name from the air. It takes a while. At times it could take 7 days. They have some kind of consultation. Do you think now people don't think about the names they give their children and they just pluck a name, Poxy, Prixie, you know, they just pluck a name without even thinking?
Well, I don't believe so, because if you're looking at our part of Nigeria, where we come from, say Southwest, the Yoruba commune, most of us still believing is that only Oruko. Each person comes with an Ori. So most of the time, traditionally, they will go and make sure there are different kinds of consultations to find out which soul has come. Or if you're a Christian, through the Christian way, you pray. Some people will see vision. Some people will be in a trance, and then they'll come up and say, this soul is blah, 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 blah. And then depending on that, there'll be names, and then there'll be orikis, you know? The same thing with I think in Islamic way, the imams would help pray, or even just the parents or the elders. So it could be the elders in the family, like you know, they're the pillars in each family. So like the patriarch. So like the oldest male in the family, most of the time it will be the great grandfather. If he's still alive, most of the time he will name first.
Okay. The question I was going to ask is, in terms of the new generation of Nigerians who are based here, based abroad, do you think
most of them send message back home?
Yeah. Okay.
Except those orphans, those who don't have,
yes. Yeah.
Remember, or they've lost touch with culture. So probably they will just pray about it. I mean, I still believe most of us here are still prayerful. So they'll pray, oh Lord, open my heart to give my child the name that is right for his soul, his spirit, his purpose on earth, you know. And then I say, I can't find a name, but you know what, Lord, I thank you. So I'm going to name this child, Lord, I thank you. And young, you know. So some people do it, but then some people just say, he looks cute. Oh, he looks like a proper baller, a big baller. I'm going to give him a big baller. Or I know I've been at a naming ceremony where the father, he's Nigerian, and he was saying that he actually went online and researched Yoruba names and their meanings. And because he knows he comes from a Yoruba lineage, all the names, and until he found a name that said, now I believe this is my child. So he selected like 3 or 4 names from what he found, and then named his daughter. You know. But,
so what I would say to my listeners and viewers is that especially if you're from the African background, it's really important that you think about the name you are going to give your child, because it's really important. It's almost like a blessing. And you can see, as Dele said, I am building my audience, I'm a president. And the same, he talks about his name, and it's about peace. And you can tell he's so relaxed as he is. Okay, so a couple of more questions for you, my friend. So you were born in Hackney, and you went back at what age?
4.
Okay, and then you came back when?
95.
Wow, so almost very similar.
95.
So almost very.
This December 2020 made it 25-year anniversary.
Wow, how did you mark that? How did you mark your 25 years in England?
I just chilled with my immediate family. You know, there was loads of food. There was loads of food, and there was loads of reflection on this fantastic 2020.
Yes, yeah. When I in 2021.
Well, like, wow, what a year! And at the same time, I had what was it? I was chewing on one drumstick. What a year!
What a year!
Sip of wine. Yeah.
What a year!
A bit of Yorkshire pudding.
Yes, so nice.
A bit of jollof rice.
Yes, yeah.
But you know, I just remembered. You know, Fela's full name was Oluwafeola.
Yes.
So he also lived his name, Feola.
Yeah.
Spread, you know,
joy. Spread the joy. Yeah.
Spread the joy. And look at him. How long since he's been dead? He's still relative.
Yeah.
Being referenced. Yeah. Everything he sang about is still poignant.
Yeah.
You know.
So you were 4 years of age when you went back to Nigeria. Yeah. How did you? Because I went back to Nigeria at the age of 5, and I came back. And I came back to the UK at the age of 19. This is what I remember. And I remember leaving Liverpool, falling sick. I had ship sickness because we had to go by ship. And then when we arrived, I saw all these black people. So many, I'd never seen so many black people because I was in Nigeria. And I remember this uncle of mine in those days, when I was like, I remember this at 5, 6, he had tribal marks. And every time he picked me up, I always screamed. I totally screamed. So I think for me, I don't know whether you can remember, how did you make that transition from leaving Hackney to arriving in Nigeria and then ending up playing in Fela's band?
It's a long story. And it's a symposium discussion in the near future, like Fela said, at the beginning of his track VIP. But I'll give you a brief summary.
Yeah.
landing in Nigeria at the age of 4, after being in London, it was like, God, where is this? They gave me ice cream. I said, do not call that ice cream, please. And they were giving me amala to eat. I was like, what is this black gooey stuff? And then they would do the slimy. Then me that was ajebo, toast, baked beans, scrambled eggs, steak and kidney pie, Yorkshire puddings, because then they now started bombarding me with eba. I was like, yucky. That was initially, but I got, after a while,
you get used to it. Yeah.
Then, unfortunately, my dad was a star within the banking industry. And before you knew it, he was one of the top, he became one of the top bankers in the country. Before you knew it, he was a fraud investigator. And, in the line of duty, he came across a situation whereby the people who had defrauded came for him.
Oh, dear.
They sent, unfortunately. And I was around 12 when it happened. So that just changed our life as a family,
Oh, sorry to
One
hear
night
that.
we went to bed. The next morning, we had been surrounded by hired assassins, managed to break into the house, killed him, killed his dad. And that's the end of all the beautiful things in our family at that point in time. So we had to survive. Yeah, this was 1975.
Wow.
So we came back from England 1967. Between 1967 and 75, he was rising steadily within the banks, and before you know it, by 95, that was it, end of career. So mom had to now struggle with 5 of us.
Ooh.
That was my reality check, wake up check, because it was like, pew! Oh, the world is not as kind. The world is not as straightforward. People are not as nice. The minute you're not relevant to their needs, you become, because you know how it is in Nigeria. You work in a bank, everybody's your friend, man. Manager, manager, everybody's your friend. Every Christmas, turkey, goats, chickens, trays of eggs. You know how it is? People will go, manager, Merry Christmas. I know. After that, there was nobody. In fact, some people actually told my mom, please stop coming to our household. We don't know if they are still trailing you. We don't want to be victims of assassinations, But then I was in Igbobi College, and Fela's nephews were students. They were my schoolmates. In fact, his senior brother, the Minister of Health, his first son was my school father. And he could play all the Fela current songs. He could play them on the piano. And I was fascinated, man. How can this boy play all these songs? So I watched, I learned, from a very early age, I had a conception of the arrangements. I saw the layout from the low-end instruments to the high-end instruments, and I was like, wow. So mathematically, I began to figure out the songs at that age, and then we had a school band. So of course, there was experimentations with the school band. We try and do cover versions of these popular songs like Yellow Fever, Opposite People, Equalization of Trouser and Pants. Those were simple. Ding, 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 natural as I be this. Now, fine to be that. Panty small, fast trouser anytime. Panty, you know, they get decoration like trouser. Like a button, like a button. Like in small past trouser 10 times. In go get a rope by force. You know, all that. So I was, before you knew it, I got introduced to Femi because they are his cousins. The minute Femi and I met like it was like, boom! Ah, long last, my long lost brother from another mother. We became inseparable. Then he introduced me to Fela. When we went to visit Fela was, and he said, because he calls his dad, Fela. Fela, this is my friend I was telling you about. And that was it. You're the one, the son of the banker. Sit down. He made me recount. Qu'est-ce que c'est? What happened? What's the story? When I told him, he asked a few questions. And it was like, did you and your mom and the rest of the siblings, did you have any psychological counseling? That was the first question. Out of all my dad's friends, all my mom's friends, he was the only person. And I was like, psychological counseling. My mom used to work at USIS, United States Information Services. She was the chief librarian there. So our long holidays, we will follow Momsi to work. You go into the library, read a book. When you finish reading the book, you write a summary. Thesaurus, encyclopedia, everything they there. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to go and check psychological counseling. Then we didn't have Google, because you can just put it into Google, it will just tell you. But I went encyclopedia, thesaurus, dictionary, everything. Then I realized that what on my knee. But to have that kind of thing in Nigeria, if you don't have the money to pay for it, forget it. Unlike here in the UK, the fact that you were part of the crowd that there was an accident and somebody was crushed in front of you, already you have to have free psychological counseling for that trauma. So you don't have PTSD,
post-traumatic stress.
Trauma stress.
Yeah.
So then he made a pledge. He said, you know, they burnt my house. Your family deserve more. I'm going to make sure that I take this matter on and see what I can do for your family, you know? I was like, this man that I only just met me, he didn't know me from Adam, but he knew the story of Popsy, and he's like, yeah, what a guy, man. You know, meanwhile, I was just in the music anyway. But because we were in high school, I then convinced Femi to join my high school, which was the Bobby College. And of course, that just meant whenever we wanted to perform, we could go and say, oh, Fela, can we borrow the piano, the amplifiers, the drum kit? We have a gig. And Fela said, I'm not playing. Call his road manager, okay. And they'll go and set up for us. We go and play our inter-house sports, or we go and play in Holy Child, you know, or go and play in MG, Methodist Girls, you know. So gradually, then when Fela started his new shrine, that was it. Going to watch. One day I summoned up the courage, and it was like, Fela, I've learned these songs. Could I play the song and take a solo? He looked at me, was like, you sure? I said, yeah, he'd be very excited. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna say yes. And I said, go ahead. Whoa, the speed which I jumped onto the piano, I played like, man, there was no tomorrow. And then that was it. And I got a good ovation. I said, that piano sounds different. Who's that? Hey, is that Femi's friend? Oh, hey, so that boy can play? By the time I finished playing, I was dubbed Gold Finger. So in the shrine, my nickname used to be the Gold Finger. So that's how I started playing. And then I was still in high school then. Before you knew it, Femi pulled out of high school, said he wasn't doing it. He wasn't doing high school again, and he was going to join the band full time. I was like, me too, me too. Fela said, you can still be coming to play, but if you haven't finished your GCSEs, no. You have to finish your GCSEs then. But you can still be coming and playing one or two songs like you normally do. So I continued doing that. And the day I finished my GCSEs, from the paper, I just took a bus straight to his place. Hey, Fela, I finished. So I can't join the band now. So, okay, you need 2 weeks of certain exercises. So he gave me some things to do, 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, he just put me on the payroll. That was it. And I never looked back.
Wow. Wow. I've got so many questions to ask you.
Okay.
So the very first one. So I genuinely did not know about, and I should have done some research about your late.
No, that's because you're a dictator. Just let it hit you in the face so you will react to it very naturally.
Yes. Yeah. Did you ever have any counseling? As Fela said, no. Okay. Did you feel that the music was your way of take away the pain? Yeah.
Spot on.
Exactly. Because I'm not a psychologist, but I do have, believe it or not, as a dictator, emotional intelligence. So when you were there's been trauma, and I just admire how you've been able to use the music to help you. I think that's what I get from that, basically. Yeah. The other thing I would say is, how did your mother respond? Because when I spoke to Ola a while back, I said that there are quite a number of us who are what we call ajebotas. So you are one of them as well. I remember my parents were they caught me one day listening to Fela, and they just did not like it. They did not like me listening to Fela. They stopped me from listening to Fela which I greatly regret, because like I said, I didn't get to understand or appreciate his music until I arrived in England. For you, did your mom object to the fact that you were interested in Fela's music and you now became part and parcel of his band?
In fact, before my father died, my father was a fan.
Okay.
So we had records. Okay. Those early sisi tó ń jó yìí o ẹ wá wẹsẹ̀ rẹ̀ ìjọ̀gbọ̀n ẹ wá wò bá díẹ̀ o ẹ ti jẹ́ lele ọ àlùjọ́n tán àlùjọ́n kí jọ́n. Those were the early 70s Africa 70 hits that were, because they were not as political. The one that was political, it wasn't too hard. Ìjọ̀wọ́ la máa bọ̀ o, padà lóko ẹrú, a ó bọ́jọ́ kan o. Ká ló sọ fún mi pé àwọ̀ dúdú tí mo gbé sára mi yóò dá o. You remember that one?
Yes, yes.
In those early days, it was okay, and there was not too much negative yet. So, but after my father died, by then, Fela had a few scuffles
with the government.
They had mobilized to burn his house. The zombie was out, That was the killer. That zombie, oh no. And because of that, there was a lot of sponsored negative publicity about him. He's a ne'er-do-well. He harbors a den of miscreants, hemp smokers. He has underage girls and sleeping with them, you know, and all those kind of things. So for me, listening to music at home, his music wasn't the problem. But when they found out that I was going to the shrine, I was playing, and I now said when I finished school, sir, I'm going into music full time, I'm joining Fela's band. He roared me. He wore Igbo. I said no. And my mom, God bless her soul, she wanted me to go into medicine, like, because that dream died with my father.
Yeah.
The minute my dad died, when I saw my eyes cleared, I was like, that's it. I would do what I feel is right for me to do, you know. And so I told my mom, I said, okay, yeah, I want to go to America. I want to go study music. I wanted to go to Berkeley. I said, yeah, can I go to Berkeley? Or one of those top schools in America? I said, okay, if you want to go to Berkeley, you can go to Berkeley, but you must go to Berkeley, not to just study music. You can study music part-time, but you've got to do either medicine, law, accountancy, or do some engineering, do something, you know, that everybody does. And then, because music doesn't pay the bills. So I'm not doing anything else. That's what I want to do. I said, okay, if that's what you want to do, no more support. I said, okay, no problem. So by then I'd already started playing in Fela's band anyway. And I was learning fast. I was a very fast learner. Before you knew it, I had started orchestrating, writing scores, you know, arranging, because Fela doesn't play any song that he has released. That's it. Once it's on vinyl, it's out there. That's it. New songs. So when you go to the shrine, you don't hear the records. You hear his latest. So before he come, did you ever watch Fela?
Yes. Yeah, not watch him. I didn't watch him live, but I've seen clips of him. Yeah.
Okay, if you ever went to the shrine.
Then when you go to the shrine.
Yeah, exactly. So if you ever went to the shrine, the structure in the shrine, the setup is that the doors are open from about 9 p.m. There's all kinds of food stalls. There's suya, there's rice, there's amala, pounded yam. People are cooking, you know. So when you get there, you can first of all go and have a meal. Then from the meal, you go in. The DJs are performing. There's a series of variety of there's palm wine, there's beer, there's stout. Then there's the pow pows, the spirits, you know. So then the band DJs will play till around about 11. Then the Africa 70 will play from 11 till about 12, 12:30 or 1. And then Fela will play from 1 till 5, 6 a.m. So that was the structure every Friday, Saturday. No, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday.
And it was always packed.
Yeah, it was always packed. And then Sunday used to be Sunday jump. Sunday is when children could come with their parents, because it starts about 3 p.m. and then ends at 9 p.m. You know, so with that kind of a structure, we would then perform before Fela comes. So that we performing, after a while, I started orchestrating the old songs so that we can play those Jayon Koko or Lady or Shakara Olo Jeni, all those. I would write it out so we rehearse, write the home part out, because Egypt 80 was not the same as Africa 70. Because when I joined Egypt 80. Africa 70 were the ones that played Lady. They were the played Jankoku, they played Shakara. So Egypt 80 are a bunch of young, new musicians. They did not play any of those. So to play them, you had to teach them. So me, I just pick it upon myself. Score all this music, Gary. So I started scoring, arranging, teaching. Wow. And then, so we will play before Fela comes on stage. And we'll play all those old songs. Then and then the budding singers will sing the songs. I never sang in shrine. Because I just arranged and play my keys. And then there's somebody else, Femi, Femi sing. Somebody else says, I can sing Why Black Man They Suffer. You sing Why Black Man They Suffer. Somebody will say, hey, can I sing Lady? Sing Lady now. You know? So different members of the band would choose which song they want to sing before Fela comes on. And I believe that we call that overtures. You know, like when you go to a theater, you have the overtures, which means the preamble before the main.
The warm up, the warm up acts. Yeah.
So that's how I picked up my arranging skills. And by the time I left, it was easy to recruit when we formed Positive Force. So Femi and I, we got a group of very young musicians together, taught them, because to play Afrobeat, it's a different discipline, you know, and if you're not used to it, you will stumble initially, especially if you don't have good tutelage. But between Femi and I, we were perfect. We've served Fela for enough. So we just decided that, you know, we can go it alone. And before we knew it, we built Positive Force, and now I worked with him for 9 years before coming here.
Why did you leave Nigeria to come to the UK with so much experience of playing with Fela?
Why did I leave? My initial leaving wasn't to leave permanently.
Okay.
But by the time I got here, before you knew it, things had changed. And I just decided, you know what? I ain't going back. I'm just going to stay, you know? At least it's not that I'm going to overstay. I didn't need a visa. I didn't need a work permit. Nobody's chasing me. And after all, my wife is here. My kid is here. You know what? Let me just stay at it. So I stayed. Because we fell out, man. After I came, we fell out. So that was it.
So then your career began in the UK. Tell me how that all happened.
Well, like you said, experience. Initially, my first thoughts were, I didn't grow up in the UK. I've not managed to build a following in the UK. I'm 32 years old. I'm already a mature adult. Where am I going to start from? You know? So I said, you know what, let me go back to uni. Let me go and study something. So I had I'd asked for prospectus from a couple of universities. Somebody living in the block of flats we were living in had been watching me, and I didn't even know. The guy is from Mozambique.
Okay.
And he's a musician. He's a singer. He saw the Glastonbury video of Fela live at Glastonbury. So one day he now called my wife then and said, your husband, he played with the Fela Kuti. I see him in the video, in the television. I said, yes, he did. See, he did. Oh my God, I recognize him. He said, what's he do now? Is he play? I said, no, he's not playing. Then I was walking, you know. I was working in the Royal Free Hospital. And then he said, me, I'm a try to put your band together. If he can play with me, I'm happy. My flat is, please tell him, come see me. Me that I didn't even have my own piano. Because I was like, where do I start from? I don't have piano. I can't even afford to buy one. You know, let me just go back to uni, Jari. Anyway, so I went to go and see the guy. The guy now was like, yes, I'm putting a band together, you know. My style of music is Afro-Brazilian, you know. So those kind of Brazilian songs with an Afro thing, you know, that more Afro. So I told myself, well, the problem is I don't have my own keyboard. You don't have a keyboard? Okay, wait. What keyboard? Take it. He gave me keyboard. Even though it was a Casio. You know, if you have Casio in Nigeria, you're king.
Yeah, Casio.
Casio here, you look at you and you're not serious. But it's a good you can practice with it. So I took the piano and then we started rehearsing started building his music, and before you knew it, he went back to Mozambique, and that was the end. But he left the keyboard with me.
Yeah.
So that just opened up my hunger. I was like, man, damn, I've missed playing, man. But then I'd been playing with them, and all that. I was like, man, I have to. So a very good friend came into town, and then asked me, so what are you going to do? I said, the first thing that I need to do is I need to get myself a keyboard. He said, let me help. Go and look for the one that will actually serve the purpose. He gave me money, and I bought a workstation. So during those days, you used to see me in Elephant and Castle.
Yes.
That workstation, I press the button, the guitar starts. Or I press the button, you hear cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Press another button.
Yeah.
Press another button, the bass comes in. Before you knew it, I started playing gigs. I started playing private parties. I started off as a duo. So I had a horn player and myself. Then after a while, people were getting more like, this guy knows it, man, let's book him. So I could have two horn players. So I'll have a trumpet and a tenor sax, or a trombone and a tenor sax, or a trumpet, trombone, and tenor sax.
Wow.
Or still using the workstation, But when you see horns, people just love horns. Especially in Fela's music, when there's no horns, you can still enjoy it. But when you hear the horns, you think, oh, water.
Gets me.
People just go, yeah, Baba, yeah, So before you knew it, I started building up. Then I remember that Fela analogy. He was like, as an artist, you need a place where you can be identifiable. You need a place to grow. So I looked. I started playing regularly in Elephant and Castle every Friday. I was there. Then the place got shut down. Then I moved to another place in Kilburn High Road, Buka.
Yes, I used to come to Buka. Yeah.
Yes. So it was me and Mike. Mike, the saxophone player.
Yes.
Before you knew it, we fell out. And then I moved it to another one in Neasden called Hideout. And then during the same time, I was doing one-offs at Obalende Suya in Dalston, Obalende Suya in Peckham, then Calabash Kitchen in Camberwell.
Yeah.
You remember Calabash Kitchen?
Yes.
So I started playing just the Nigerian circuit. After a while, I just got a shot. I was told to come and play at the Queen Elizabeth Hall. I was like, really? Oh, yes, hell yes. So I got a shot to play by Joyful Noise was the production company. They gave me the slots to play. I was opening act for Eric Bibb, the blues singer. By the way, he also has released a track, Afrobeat track.
Okay.
A blues singer. Man. Anyway, so after that, because of the feedback, I think, then I got a second gig, but this time at the Purcell Room, headlining myself,
Wow.
Sosimi Afrobeat Orchestra live at the Purcell Room. So, and then from then it was no looking back. And then over the years, I was doing concerts. I went over to, I got invited to play Joe Zawinul's Birdland in Vienna.
Yeah.
We had a couple of residencies, first time, well attended. Then second time again, 3-night residency. And then before you knew it, we started doing a couple of festivals in Europe.
Yeah.
And then, then I decided, okay, I need a shrine in London.
Okay.
So I found a place called the New Empowering Church.
Okay.
So I started playing 6 shows a year.
Okay.
So, no, not 6. 4 shows a year, every 3 months.
Okay.
The last Friday of January, last Friday of March, June, August, November.
Yeah.
Oh no, last Saturday it was. I think. Yeah, it was last Saturday. And we start playing at midnight.
Wow.
Live music from midnight to 4 a.m. non-stop, 4-hour set. DJ will play from 9 o'clock, doors open, just like the shrine. 9 o'clock, doors open, people sauteing, drinking, listening to the DJs. We feature about 2 or 3 DJs. Once it's 12 midnight on the dot, we get on stage. But usually minimum of 12 on stage. And then we just play. It was a repertoire of Fela classics and my originals and Tony Allen's music.
Yeah.
So it was purely Afrobeat. And I did it for up to 10 years.
Wow. Doing
4 shows, 4 shows every 3 months, every quarter. Yeah, every quarter. And then before you know it, the audience just kept growing bigger and bigger. When they took over the place, because the reason we stopped was because the lease expired and they refused to renew the lease because somebody had come with more money.
Yeah, of course, which is what happens.
They just told my guy right up, I said, look, even if you are making money every night from this nonsense music you do, the money they've offered me is nothing compared to those peanuts that you want to be earning on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sorry, I can't renew your lease. I'm selling the lease completely. I've got what I can do with this money they're giving me in bulk. You can't even understand. So that's how we lost the venue, and we never could find
another venue
that was adequate in terms of timings. Because now we moved to Jazz Cafe after moving to 3 other venues. We ended up at Jazz Cafe. The Jazz Cafe were like, okay, we can do the night thing because there's a particular crowd that are into that late night thing. They want to saute into the venue around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. They are what you call the night crawlers.
Yeah.
There's that market. Then there are the early birds. Oh, I want to have finished watching by 9:30 so I can go home and have my beauty sleep. Hardcore rockers. Yeah. Their night starts around midnight. So they will saute into some venues around 2 a.m. And they know that from 2 a.m. they are rocking till 5 a.m. in the morning, minimum. So they tried it in Jazz Cafe, and the neighbors, before you know it, we did I think we did 5 or 6 sessions. And the neighbors petitioned the council. It got to last warning. And then it got to, okay, we're taking you to court. Wow. So Jazz Cafe had to change. They actually offered me to move it to earlier. So, look, why don't you do an earlier set? And I was like, no. If we're doing an earlier set, we're going to have to call it something else, because that brand, Afrobeat Vibration, that brand is peculiar to, it has to be a late set. Okay. So they said, okay, sorry, we can't do it because if we do it again, they will take our license, last strike. So we had to stop. I'm still looking for a new venue.
And then
a new place, you need a place to grow. It's like what you do. It's like we're old school. This thing you do, this is your where can I need to see I need to see the president of Laughter. I need to hear him, and he does a podcast, he releases a podcast frequently. That's how you can get, and you can be current with what he's doing. As opposed to, if you don't have a place, you can't be current.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the because we'll talk about the impact of the lockdown, and you are absolutely right. The way I found a way of growing was because I was performing all over all the comedy clubs. But if I had to start all over again, I would have found myself a place that I could call the President Obonjo venue, so that on a Friday night, every 3 months, you will always come and you build your audience. So that you know it's your audience, and you then introduce new acts to it. But that's hindsight is a very good thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Afrobeat. Okay, so there's your Afrobeat, and there's this new generation of Afrobeat. And at times I say to myself, they shouldn't call it Afrobeat because it isn't Afrobeat. It's a new, I don't know, maybe it's Afrobeat fusion or whatever.
I would say a couple of people have gotten together and branded it Afropop.
Okay.
They call it Afropop. It's more poppy. It's
Yeah.
because it's interesting. It's an evolution of Afrobeat.
Yes.
But it's not the Afrobeat that Fela created.
Yes, definitely.
It borrows a lot of the elements. It borrows a lot of the semiotics, you know.
Yeah.
But it's always implied. You can tell there's something in there, and you are like, there's something. But I know this is not Afrobeat. Or this is not Fela's Afrobeat.
Okay.
But,
okay. One more question, because when you originally started in England and you were building your audience, you had Nigerian clientele. Yeah. Now, I've seen from Wikipedia, you know, like you rightly pointed out, you know, you play jazz cafe, you've been to international tours. Did you ever, for example, will go somewhere and obviously it's predominantly white, but did you also have a Nigerian following at all?
Well, I do have a Nigerian following, but they're not in the forefront. I just, like I will be I was in Denmark, and some Nigerian just came out.
Okay.
And shouted, you know, and then he shouted from the audience, I want you. You know, when you just see a sea of white faces, and you think nothing of it, and there you are in your thing, you're grooving, everybody's smiling and happy, dancing, getting down, and then you just hear that Yoruba voice say, I want you, I represent you. It's a buzz.
You know, it's such a beautiful thing to happen. I do, when things were good before COVID arrived, I do what they call the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And I went in 2015. It was my first Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And I went with a show called President Obonjo Stole My Identity. And it was a predominantly white audience. And all of a sudden, two young men came, and they were Nigerians, and I had no idea. And I love improv. So as soon as I saw them, I said, guys, this is what happens when you come to Edinburgh. You end up finding that you have children in Edinburgh. They happen to be Nigerians. So I put them in the show, and it was just unbelievable. But you see, because for me, performing at times can be a very lonely business, especially when you're out on the road.
Yeah.
Things I used to do in Edinburgh as well, I try and find a Nigerian restaurant because I haven't eaten pounded yam or amala for a while, and I'm on the road. I need to eat something, you know? And so when I see my people, I'm so excited by the fact that, geez, and then there's nothing as great as even having your people appreciate what you do, even though it's different, even though it's something different. There's nothing, yeah. So I see where you're coming from with that. Look, this has been quite interesting conversation and a great eye opener. How has the lockdown affected you in terms of entertainment? What have you been doing?
I have just been keeping on. I've done a lot of self-reflection. I've done a lot of releasing, you know, say if you have no control over it, relinquish that feeling of I must be able to control my destiny. Sometimes the external forces will put certain blockages, and you just have to meander during those times. You know, if you like swim in circles, it's okay. If you like, just relax. Use that time to chill out. Whatever you do, don't be hard on yourself. But remember, this is a time for reflection. This is a time to for a rebirth, if it's required, or it's a time for you to make hay. For, in a way, for the creatives, this is a hay-making period for a lot of us. Because for someone like you can write. You can write a lot. I mean, I don't know how your creative process is, but during this, out of these kind of situations, you can't imagine the kind of things that you can come up with. It's like, because you've got so much time on your hand. There are no gigs, there are no weekly gigs, you know, and it's like, okay, let me recreate. I'm imagining there's an audience in front of me, and I'm just going to ad-lib and come up with something. And then just take a pen and just start writing. If nothing comes, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep doing it every day, and so what I did, like if you see behind me, this was done this year. These two, I've got a duo project, Dele Sosimi X Medlar.
Okay.
So we managed to release a couple of singles, you know, and then my record label released them as vinyl. And then this was a compilation called Wanted Afrobeat from Diggers to Music Lovers. They licensed one of my track, which is Ego Better. And I don't know if you're familiar with that track of mine, Ego Better.
No.
It's one of those, like during this kind of lockdown times where, you know, you're challenged, seriously challenged. And it's like, you don't remember that you're even a writer, you're a songwriter or anything. And then suddenly, a moment of illumination, it go better. Why it no go better? Tomorrow go better. Tomorrow must better. By force it must better. Tomorrow go better than today. So I just used it as one of the songs on the album, and it really worked. So it got licensed as part of another release, a compilation release, which is great.
Yeah. I was trying to see whether I could even find It Go Better on YouTube.
No.
Wait, here. It go
Why
better.
no go better? It go better. Why no go better? Tomorrow go better pass. Tomorrow must better pass. Like what it must better pass. Tomorrow better pass today.
So it go better. What does that actually mean in English?
Will be better.
Yeah, will be better. Because
why won't it be better?
So for my viewers, for my viewers and listeners, Ego Better is pidgin English. Ego Better. So
direct translation means it will be better.
Better. Yeah. So Dele, or Delbert, as I must say, Delbert. It's been such an enjoyable conversation, and I've really enjoyed hearing your story. For my viewers and listeners, if they want to find you, or they want to listen to your music, or when this pandemic is over, where can they find you?
Well, I was supposed to be playing tonight, so funnily enough. If we were not in lockdown, I had 2 dates at the Jazz Cafe in Camden. So I would have performed yesterday night, and I would have been performing tonight. But those 2 dates have now been postponed till the 19th and 20th of May. Fingers crossed. But usually I'm very frequent. I do Jazz Cafe like 4 to 5 to 6 times a year.
Wow. So,
and for, like I said, it would have been 2 nights. I would have done yesterday night and tonight. So they postponed it 19th and 20th. And then if I'm not doing that, I'm usually with my quartet. Because I have a smaller outfit playing a jazzier, more improvisational side of Afrobeat, where it's acoustic piano, double bass, and percussion. So I usually will play places like 91 Living Room or Juju's Bar or Pizza Express or Ronnie Scott's or one of those kind of places. And better still, on Spotify. There's Dele Sosimi on Spotify. There's Dele Sosimi on Spotify. You can listen to the music. You can listen to the collaborations. And you can also probably get an update of where the live performances will be at, because most of the time they get listed on Spotify.
Okay, cool. So Dele, rather than Delbert, has told you where you can listen to him. I hope you guys have enjoyed what has been a fascinating interview. For me, the key message is this, that you will face challenges and you will face adversity. How you deal with the adversity is what makes you stronger. And we are all connected in one way or the other. This is the point I'd like to make. You see people out there, you have no idea what challenges they have faced along the way, but they pick themselves up. And it's very poignant because when you listen and hear his story, I hear lots of people moan about the pandemic and how it's affecting them, and rightly so. But folks, ego better. Tomorrow is going to be better. It has to be. It can't continue like this. It has to be better. So make sure you have a positive frame of mind. And if you've been through trauma in any shape or form, find a way of getting rid of that trauma. It could be through music, like Dele's music. It could be through comedy. It could be through anything. Just make sure you deserve better and make sure you take care of yourselves. Dele, I am so pleased that you joined me. It is obvious that we enjoyed ourselves because we've gone past the allocated time.
Wow. It always happens.
But it's good. It's good. It's good.
Being a dictator, it's not good.
No, because I also, you know, for me doing this podcast, I want to make sure I enjoy it as well. So it was fun listening to you, and I've learned so much from you, but in terms of as a performer and also your inspiring story. So guys, we will publish this probably in a week's time. So guys, look out for Dele Sosimi.
Don't forget, I'm also on Instagram. I'm on Twitter.
He's on
I'm
Instagram.
not active, but you know, I try. And now I've been reading a lot. I've been educating myself. You know, and I was talking about. You remember I was talking about encyclopedia.
Yeah.
When I was young, I used to just take one encyclopedia and start from page 1 and just be reading page by page. But nowadays, you can go into Google. Whatever topics, put it there. Whatever you want to do, you can just read them. So I've been doing a lot of reading just to stimulate my intellect, my creativity, and then when I've read, I say, okay, let me try and create. Then I can write some poetry. So that's what for me. So watch out for the next releases.
Yes, and I'm going to challenge you on a couple of things. Number one, I genuinely believe that you should be online. You should find a way of using Instagram and Twitter because that's the way to go. You should be having online performances. So that's what I want to hear. And number two, I am going to induct you. I always induct my new guests. You are now a Laughter Republic citizen. Yeah? I know you're British, I know you're Nigerian. You need to change your Wikipedia to say you're a Laughter Republic citizen. And you and Ola are one of the few musicians in Laughter Republic at the moment. Not many. We just only have 2 in our nation at the moment. So I hope you will accept your new citizenship, and I hope you will accept it. And I hope you will pledge allegiance to me. And I do mean it. I think one of the things I in terms of reflection on the lockdown, I never really had time to go and see other performers. And I'm not talking about other performers in terms of comedians. I never got the chance to go and listen to music live or to go to an art studio because I was just so busy. So my challenge when the lockdown is over is to come and watch you perform. I'd love to do that because I think I'll
keep you posted.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much. Eshegon. Eshe means thank you so much. I really respect this man for his music, and I would talk to you about another project I might say when I spoke to Ola, and he said perhaps I need to create a character called Ajebota because there's so many. Yeah, because there's so many Ajebotas out there who want to hear the stories of Ajebota, you know, and we can talk about that some other time. So guys, thank you very much. Dele, thank you.
Take care. All the best.
Bye.